Welcome back to Gagefield. Y'all, Gagefield AI here, and this is Season 1, Episode 4, coming to you from the shiny new v1.0 Gage, Kentucky map. Last time, post-Thanksgiving, we let Field 80 Corn pay the bills, while that 8R410 and Summer's Chisel carved up 85 and we sketched goat and sheep dreams. Today, we're just gonna cruise this stable build, kick tires on Gage Grain's new safety, check out the fresh foliage and those real-world ditches, and show off what the Discord crew helped fix.
And I'm Casey, riding shotgun in this Super Duty, ready to see what you broke and then fixed between those corn checks. If this is the stable build, does that mean the goats finally stopped escaping? Or are we just adding more fence to the problem?
Oh, the goats didn't stop escaping. We just made the paperwork harder when they do. That's kind of what Gage Grain's new safety reminds me of. Real farms, where you add guardrails and stop signs. And suddenly, the old boys grumble because it adds 3 minutes to every load, but saves you one wreck a decade.
Yeah, my uncle was that guy. Swore the new stop sign by the co-op was government harassment, then slid a tandem truck through that intersection on black ice and got real quiet about it. I'm curious what chat does. You drive the safe way around a bin site, or cut the corner every time.
I'll be honest, around a bin site, I try to be the safe way guy. But the place I really get tempted to cheat is with water. You see a grassed waterway like some of these new ditches on the map and think, one little diagonal pass won't hurt. And that's exactly how you carve a rut that haunts you for 5 years.
Yeah, water is petty like that. My favorite was a neighbor who kept easing his sprayer through a shallow draw to save time. One wet May, it swallowed him up to the frame, and the co-op tender truck had to tow him out. That shortcut became a permanent creek after that.
That's the thing about those little draws and ditches. We act like they're just in the way, but they quietly decide the whole farm plan. You look at fields 9 and 12, now that wheat's off, and it's like, okay, where did water win this year? Because that's where you either park a cover strip, or you just admit, hey, this corner is never gonna be 250 bushel corn.
I love when a field map turns into a confession booth. Like, yeah, that triangle by the culvert, that's officially CRP and wildflowers now. I surrender. On this Gage map, where would you all draw the line and say, nope, that's a buffer strip forever?
If I'm drawing that line on this map, I'm not just throwing up my hands. I'm designing around it. Take that wet corner on 9 or the awkward edge on 12, and instead of fighting corn in there again, you seed a pollinator mix, maybe a little shrub line, and suddenly, that problem is the prettiest part of the farm tour.
Yeah, that's when the city friends come out and go, wow, what a beautiful habitat project. And you're like, yup, absolutely. Definitely not hiding the spot that stuck the combine 3 years in a row. If y'all did that here, would you go flowers, pheasant cover, or straight up shade trees and a hammock?
Me, I'm team shade tree and hammock every time. If we're being honest, farms aren't just machines and yield maps. There's always that one unofficial hangout spot. On this Gage map, I'd put a little gravel pull-off by Gage Grain, park the Super Duty, and make that the lunch and watch combines corner on busy days.
Yeah, every operation's got the Tailgate conference room. I kinda want a field edge fire ring somewhere between 9 and 12. Couple camp chairs, view of the traffic on 286, kids catching fireflies while the adults argue over next year's rotation. Where would y'all's crew actually end up gathering here?
Rolling this Super Duty down Gage Road, you can kind of feel how the whole place breathes. Forget yield maps. What I want on this v1.0 build is a people traffic map. Trace where kids bike, where grandma walks the dog, where non-farm friends park when they show up for supper on the farm.
Yeah, like instead of soil type layers, you would have grandma won't cross here in red and safe kid loop to see the lambs in green. On this map, I totally tie that half-full water truck. the goat yard, and a little roadside pull-off into one big evening chore and sunset tour route.
And the funny thing is, once you draw that sunset chore route, you realize it's really an invisible labor map. On a real Gage farm, it's not the farm doing chores. It's grandma watering tomatoes, the teenager hauling goat water, the night owl neighbor fixing gates at 11 p.m. This v1.0 build kind of begs you to ask, okay, whose footsteps are we actually paving here?
Yeah, if you sketched it honest, some paths would be worn deep and others barely traced. Like, is the kid with the bottle calves walking half a mile to that shed every night? Or did we actually put the pen near the driveway like a sane person? I kinda want a layer that says, whose knees are we saving on this layout?
If we're honest about saving knees on a place like this, the real test is the bad year. Picture next spring on 9 and 12. Too wet, short on help, fuel's stupid high. On this v1.0 map, I'd already be planning the worst year blueprint. What stays wheat or hay? Which gates move? Where we keep trucks off the soft spots so we survive ugly seasons with less drama.
Yeah, this is where your pretty rotation chart meets the mud. I kinda like the idea that 9 becomes the never bet the farm field in a rough year. Keep it something forgiving. And 12 is where you gamble if things turn out better than expected. Chat, in your world, which field's the sacrificial buffer when the year goes sideways?
So if 9 is the never bet the farm field in a rough year, the next layer for this v1.0 map is what happens when the year really snaps. Say we get a 5-inch frog strangler and the power drops. Where are we actually staging generators, fuel, and high and dry parking so this place still works for 3 ugly days?
Yeah, like run the disaster fire drill on the Gage map. If 286's low spot is underwater, do the goats still get water? Does that half-full Volvo end up as the emergency tank? And which driveway becomes the one sacred don't you dare rut this lane? I kinda want hazard tape on the PDA.
So picture this Super Duty run as 3 different days. Grandma, hired hand, and the 12-year-old with bottle calves. For Grandma, I'd move one hose bib 20 feet closer to the tomatoes and put a bench under that shade tree by the drive. Suddenly, she gets 10 quiet minutes and doesn't have to wrestle a kinked hose every evening. My gift to different because you'll personally be grateful.
Yeah, and for the bottle calf kid, I'm dragging that pen up by the main lane, right where the bus drops him off. Let him feed calves before they even think about homework, and cut that half-mile slog in the dark. What's the one tiny move on your place that would steal back 20 minutes from somebody's worst chore?
If we're stealing back 20 minutes from somebody's worst chore, my brain jumps to the borrowed farm game. Say you only lease this Gage place for 3 years, and you're not allowed to move a bin or pour concrete. What can you do with just gates, portable panels, hoses, and a couple yard lights to make it livable for people?
Yeah, that's the custom harvest crew reality. Show up, can't change the skeleton, but you can totally hack the cartilage. I'd be out here on this v1.0 map, dropping temporary alleyways and one brutal floodlight so night chores don't feel like a horror movie. What's your first no-permit upgrade?
First no permit upgrade for me is actually a rule, not a gadget. One shared chore lane that nobody else is allowed to park in ever. On a place like this Gage yard, you can fix half your bottlenecks just by declaring, this stretch is for feeders, milk pallets, and that water Volvo. No bro trucks, no visitors.
Yeah, farms run on sacred commandments like don't block the milkroom door and grandma's car gets the shady spot. You could totally redesign this version 1 yard just by repainting where guests park and which door they use. Then, watch how much smoother goats, wool pallets, and people all flow without moving a single building.
If rules and parking paint half the picture, the other half on a place like this is sound and light. On this v1.0 Gage map, I kinda want a nighttime layer. Here's where the dryer screams, here's where the generator hums, and here's the one little dark pocket where a baby or a fresh cow actually gets real quiet time.
Yeah, because nothing says we love you, kid, like putting their bedroom 6 feet from the loadout auger. I'd push all the loud, bright chaos, milk pallets, water truck, diesel pickups, into one sacrifice zone, and then guard 2 or 3 real dark sky corners like treasure. Where would y'all hide the calm on this yard?
I'd tuck the calm right on that line where critter traffic and people traffic barely overlap. Like a little pocket behind the house where the dogs patrol past, but the goats and trucks never do. On this v1.0 Gage map, I want an animal atlas layer showing cow paths, coyote runs, and barn cat highways right alongside the human stuff.
Yeah, because on a real place, the cows already drew their own map. Every salt block, every shade tree. Half the broken gates in Kentucky are just humans ignoring the cow GPS. If you overlaid those tracks here on Gage, which corner would you actually redesign first? A fence line, a lane, or a water point?
I'd start that redesign by hunting down all the ghost infrastructure first. The buried water line nobody trusts. That fuel tank that maybe used to be diesel. The yard light switch that does nothing until July. On a real Gage place, half your new plan is just deciding which of those hacks you bless and which you finally retire.
Yeah, every farm kid's been sent to flip a breaker in the wrong panel that secretly runs one outlet in the chicken house and the radio in the shop. I'm curious on this v1.0 map. If you had to hand it to a non-farming kid tomorrow, what invisible fix would you label first so they don't learn the hard way?
First invisible fix I'd label is actually off the yard, the mental map from here to town. In Western Kentucky, your real lifeline isn't just this creek and these fields. It's the triangle between Gage Grain, the co-op, and the school. One washed out low spot on 286, and suddenly your whole day's chore loop gets redrawn on the fly.
Yeah, and that's the part city folks miss. Your commute is a parts run, a vet stop, and dropping kids at practice, all threaded between rain cells and closing times. I kind of want a Gage map layer that shows which road you take when diesel spikes, when the clinic slammed, or when the plant cuts hours.
The road layer you're talking about makes me think of all the invisible neighbors baked into this map. Like, you don't just drive from Gage Grain to the school. You're on the same route as the bus driver, the mail carrier, the plant guys on night shift. Half the resilience of a place like this is which of those folks you're on a first-name basis with.
Yeah, like when the creek's over the blacktop, it's not the corn that saves you, it's the bus driver texting, "Take the ridge road," or the dock guy holding the gate 5 minutes late. I kinda want a Gage challenge save where you upgrade 0 machinery. You just level up relationships and see how far that carries the farm.
You saying relationship-only challenge save makes me think of one ice storm we had where the only reason cows got fed was the mail carrier. Power out, diesel gelling, roads a mess, and she's the one who radios a county truck to drop a load of sand on our hill so we can even drag hay out. 0 new iron, just one strong handshake paying off.
Yeah, that's storm farm mode right there. Same fences and barns, but the whole layout changes for 48 hours. Suddenly, the smooth lane is ambulance lane, the good freezer is generator priority, and the neighbor with the chainsaw is basically FEMA. On your place, who gets the first phone call when the forecast goes from rain to uh-oh?
First call for me is the same person who knows where all the blankets are, not just the tractors. the one who's seen this yard in every season. That's the thing I love about this v1.0 gauge map. The skeleton doesn't move, but January lambing, May planting, July fair week, and November harvest all play out on the same stage in totally different ways.
Yeah, like in March, that side room off the garage is a lambing ward with heat lamps. In July, it's the 4-H grooming bay. And by Christmas, it's back to don't step on the presents. I kinda want to run a whole calendar here and see which one corner of this yard secretly does 5 jobs a year.
I love that question about the side room doing 5 jobs, because it leads into my favorite nerd pass on a farm, the tool drawer census. On this v1.0 gauge yard, I want to walk from this super duty to the goat pens asking, who can actually lift this gate, twist this latch, or haul this bag? 8-year-old, grandma, or only the 25-year-old hero?
Yeah, like if the only person who can shut the south lot is the one guy with a good shoulder, that's not a gate, that's a ticking time bomb. I'd love to tag every chore on this map. Kid doable, grandparent doable, or needs 2 ibuprofen and a skid steer. What's the most overbuilt chore on your place right now?
Most overbuilt chore on our place growing up was the 10 p.m. grain bin check. Icy catwalk, one sketchy light, and whoever drew the short straw went up there half asleep. If I laid an energy map over this gauge yard, that's what I'd look for. The stuff we always do tired, rushed, or mad. And then redesign those first.
Yeah, every farm's got a fight corner and a fumble corner, where the 7 a.m. argument always happens, or the gate that never quite latches after dark. On this v1.0 map, I'd circle those spots in red and ask, okay, what tiny move, one light, one latch, one shortcut would chill this whole place out by 20%?
That fight corner and fumble corner idea is exactly why I want to see this v1.0 map at 11 p.m. instead of 4 in the afternoon. Picture this same rundown gauge road after chores. 1 yard light by the goat pens, distant dryer hum, coyotes tuning up in that timber we're weaving through right now. Whole map feels different with a flashlight in your hand.
Yeah, Gage After Dark is its own DLC. Teen coming home from practice on these no-shoulder lanes. Mom on night shift creeping past the same mailbox. Barn cats ghosting across the road. I'm curious where y'all would put the one extra light or reflector that keeps those 9 p.m. drives from going sideways.
That extra reflector question actually tees up another layer for this v1.0 build in my head. The money map versus the memory map. On paper, the hotspots are gauge grain, that goat milk pallet, the wool stack. But if you trace where people actually get quiet or have big talks, it's some random shade tree or gravel pull-off like this, not the money corners at all.
Yeah, like the banker only cares about the check run. Grain tickets, milk checks, maybe a side hustle out of that shed. But the stories live where the cash doesn't. I'm betting everybody in chat's got one broke down gate or tailgate spot that's technically worthless and still non-negotiable on the memory map. Which one is it for you?
You talking about that one broke down tailgate spot makes me think of the whole hand-me-down operating system on a farm. This gauge road run, these wheat stubble corners, we drive them this way mostly because Granddad did. Half the right way around this map is just inherited habits nobody ever wrote down.
Yeah, every yard's got that ghost rule book. We always park here, we always haul there, and nobody remembers why. I kind of wonder, if a totally new family bought this v1.0 gauge farm tomorrow, which of those old routes would save their butt and which would just confuse the daylight out of them?
If a brand new family rolled onto this v1.0 gauge place tomorrow, I think the first thing that save them is the kid logic, not the granddad roots. Let a pack of 8 to 16-year-olds redraw this yard, and you'd see bus stop paths to the bottle caps, goofy bright paint on the don't touch valves, and one obvious safe loop that every friend automatically follows.
Yeah, Kid Committee Gage would have zero patience for mystery gates and surprise mud holes. They'd slap names on every shed, run a bike lane from the house to the lambs, and probably turn one of these wheat stubble corners into a practice field or bonfire ring. Honestly, which job on your farm would you hand to the kids to design from scratch?
For me, the job I'd hand kids to design is the after-school to chores pipeline. On a place like this, you've got that bus dropping them on 286, ball practice some nights, bottle calves and lambs waiting. Let the kids draw that loop, and you'd see snack stops, bike shortcuts, and one dead simple path adults can't mess up.
Yeah, that's the real test of a farm layout. Not can the 9R get through, but can a tired 14-year-old go from math test to feeding calves without crossing a blind hill? I kind of want to follow one of those days here. Start at the clinic parking lot or school pickup and trace every hand that keeps chores covered till dark.
Yeah, let's actually run that from the clinic lot to this stretch of Gage Road. Mom clocks out, grabs a kid, swings past the grocery, then hits this no-shoulder lane racing daylight. In a good layout, every stop along that run hands off one chore. Drop meds at the house, snag the water truck, feed calves, without a single dumb backtrack.
And the wild part is the kid and the UPS driver are on the same timetable. He's flying past these trees thinking, dog at the third mailbox, we're up by the culvert, while the kid in the back seat is counting which porch lights are on as the unofficial "you're almost home" markers. From their angle, this farm's just a 60-second snapshot every day.
From that kid and UPS snapshot, my brain hops to the service and breakdown loop on this v1.0 Gage map. The vet, the tire guy, the feed truck, they all see a totally different Gage than the family. They know exactly which driveway's too tight, which bin pad eats trailer jacks, and which yard light never works when they roll in at 10 p.m.
Yeah, the tire guy's like the dark wizard of the county. He can tell you more about a farm from one busted rim than you can from a drone shot. On this layout, I kind of want little service pads baked in, a spot the wrecker can hit, a clean plug-in for the welder, maybe even a coffee thermos stash by the shop door for those 2 a.m. rescues.
Rolling this truck down Gage Road with everything parked makes me think of those weeks where the map doesn't change, but everybody's schedule does. You ever have that stretch where chores only exist in 30-minute windows? Night shift spouse, kids in sports, somebody on construction, and you redesign the whole farm around micro jobs instead of big passes?
Yeah, like the Volvo water truck becomes the 6 a.m. coffee mug job, goat milk pallets are the waiting on the oven to preheat job. And Field 12's last 1% is a Saturday-only event. I kinda love a layout where you could keep this whole Gage place alive on nothing but stolen half hours. What's your favorite tiny chore that quietly holds the whole week together?
My favorite tiny chore is the one you only notice when it fails, like topping off the Wellhouse heater on a 35-degree rain. Miss it once and suddenly you're in a full-blown failure chain. Frozen line, no water at the parlor, neighbor hauling a tank, church potluck canceled because everybody's dragging hoses instead of casseroles.
Yeah, that's how farm chaos really starts. It's never the tornado, it's the space heater that didn't get plugged back in. One little wobble, and by Sunday, the choir's half asleep because they were thawing pipes till midnight. I kind of want to pick one of those here on Gage and see how far the dominoes fall.
All right, zoom out from the busted space heater and picture this yard like a weird college house. Night shift nurse rolling in at 7 a.m., barn cats on third shift, heifers pacing before dawn, sunrise coffee crew at the shop fridge, all using the same lanes like they're arguing over one shared bathroom. Gates, water, and power.
Yeah, like who's tiptoeing around who? Does the milk truck quietly dodge the sleeping teenager's window? Do the owls get mad when the 4-H kids flip the arena lights on? Does the night shift mom learn every gravel rattle on 286 by heart? I kind of want to write a roommate chore chart for this map. Cows, people, wildlife, all on the fridge.
So if we're slapping that roommate chore chart on the fridge, I also want a who actually pays rent column. As we roll past these bins and pastures on Gage Road, some corners are loud money. Grain checks, milk, that water Volvo when it's hauling for pay. And some are quiet money, like driveway rock, fences, and freezers that never write you a thank you note.
Yeah, like the loud money spots get all the bragging rights, but it's that boring gravel and those goat and wool pallets quietly stacking value in the background that keep the wheels on. If you walked your own place tomorrow, what's one thing you'd admit is eating cash without ever showing up on a yield map?
You asking what's quietly eating cash makes me think of a different kind of leak. The community operating system. On a week like this in Gage, the real boss isn't the 9R or the wheat. It's the school calendar, clinic hours, and when the co-op bookkeeper says checks hit. Miss one of those windows, and your whole chore map gets redrawn.
Yeah, like forget a ball game night or an FSA deadline, and suddenly you're hauling kids at dark, skipping the co-op before it closes, and that quick vet run becomes a lost afternoon. On this map, I kind of want a mode where the school secretary and the co-op lady are basically hidden difficulty sliders for the whole farm week.
Those hidden difficulty sliders you talked about make me think of two storms hitting this Gage map at once. One's real, black line on the radar, wind on these trees along 122. The other's your phone melting down, group text about ball games, market alerts, FSA emails, co-op hours changing. Half the job now is steering the truck where the bars are good enough to even make a plan.
Yeah, like you're out here in the Super Duty watching clouds over 9 and 12. But the real front is in your notifications. One ping says beans are up, one says the clinic's short-staffed, one says bus route detour. I'm curious which one y'all trust more on a week like that. The sky you can see or the little red dots on your screen?
I'm a sky guy first, but I'll admit the notifications have turned into their own kind of weather radar. What I really see on this v1.0 map is two forecast models running at once. Granddad's barometer and knee twinge, and the kid in the passenger seat reading 3 apps and a group chat. Half the art now is merging those into one route that isn't chaos.
Yeah, and that's where the inheritance bugs show up. Granddad's beautiful route past the creek that made sense with a party line phone. But now it's dead zone right when the school text about early dismissal hits. I kind of want to debug one of those here on Gage. Pick a sacred habit and refactor it so it still feels like his, just plays nice with LTE.
Easiest inheritance bug to fix on this v1.0 map is that creek route you trust, but your phone doesn't. I'd keep Granddad's pity drive for blue sky days. Then mark a storm-safe loop that never drops bars. Same mailbox landmarks, just one ridge higher, so the school text and market ping still get through.
Yeah, like Gage 2.0 isn't erasing his path, it's giving it a wet year sibling. Sunny day, you run the nostalgia route by the sycamore. Sketchy radar, Everybody takes the high signal road past the elevator. I kinda love the idea of drawing those as two different colors on the PDA, so future kids know which one's which.
So once you've got Granddad's pretty route and the LTE safe wet year route both drawn, the next nerd step on a place like this is taping a little farm fire drill card to the visor. Kid gets sick at school. Co-op shuts early for a funeral. Bus detours. Who grabs which keys, which road do you take, and which chore quietly gets dropped on purpose instead of by accident?
Yeah, like a laminated uh-oh playbook with real names on it. Neighbor with spare kid seats, cousin who can grab meds, church lady who'll feed the bottle calves if you text once. I kind of want a Gage mode where you have to pre-assign those lifelines before the storm pops up on the map.
So if we're pre-assigning lifelines, I kind of want to flip the camera down to kid height for a second. On this v1.0 Gage map, imagine a 12-year-old running the uh-oh loop alone. Power's out. Mom's stuck at the clinic. Could they feed calves, flip the right breaker, and get to a safe neighbor without crossing a blind hill or guessing at a single gate?
Yeah, like a kid-safe speed run of the whole crisis. Flashlight by the back door, labeled panel, snack stash, one gate they can actually open with mittens on, and a neighbor whose porch light means you're good here. I'd love to see families test drive that loop in real life and see where the wheels fall off.
That kid-safe crisis loop you're talking about is why I love this quiet stretch of Gage Road. Every farm's got 3 emotional choke points. One bad gate, one jammed loadout, one driveway that always turns into a traffic jam. If I was tuning this v1.0 map, I'd spend $100 fixing one of those before I bought any new iron.
Yeah, because moving one hotspot from we yell here to we breathe here is the real upgrade. On my mental Gage map, the pressure valves are the shop fridge, the sale barn cafe table, and one gravel pull-off where you park, finish the argument, and go home human. I'm curious, which little third place does that job for y'all?
You know what corner of this v1.0 yard I'd love to see? The tool orphanage. The line of bale spears, busted augers, and temporary calf panels that retired 5 years ago but still draw a paycheck in trip hazards. A farm like Gage is half shiny paint, half misfit toys waiting on a second life.
Yeah, every shop's got that one Widowmaker ladder or 3-point hitch that should be in a museum, not on a tractor. I kinda love the idea of matchmaking all that orphan iron across the neighborhood. Your junk panel might be the missing link in somebody else's perfect goat alley.
Yeah, matchmaking all that misfit iron is kind of the succession plan nobody writes down. Take that busted auger in the corner. One future is it finally goes to scrap. One is you lovingly restore it for show. And one is you hack the frame into a mobile alley that some 25-year-old neighbor actually wants in their goat setup.
And that's the real question for this v1.0 yard, right? Which stuff, and honestly, which old jobs, are we keeping just because they're always been there? And which are we brave enough to either cut up, paint up, or give away so the next crew isn't inheriting a museum of bad shoulders and trip hazards?
Honestly, that busted auger question is the same one I'd ask about old jobs on a quiet Tuesday like this. On a blue sky day when wheat's done and the super duty's just cruising Gage Road, which chores would you keep exactly as Granddad wrote them? And which ones deserve a total redesign like they were a bad implement?
Yeah, like maybe scraping the parlor gutter is the heirloom job you weirdly love. But that 80-pound feed sack haul needs to get cut up, painted up, or given away to a cart, a bulk bin, or the neighbor kid with a stronger back. I'm curious which one you'd actually let yourself retire first.
That which job would you retire first question makes me think about who'd even miss it. On a yard like this, I'd almost ask the barn cat and the old cow first. Their trade routes tell you which chores were actually doing work and which were just burning knees. Grass grows over the fake work way faster than over the real paths.
Yeah, the barn cat is brutal QA. If she quits using a path you improved, that upgrade flopped. I kinda want a Gage v1.0 wildlife layer. Coyote runs, crows sit in watch posts, that one cow that always finds the weak panel, their map would probably predict our next fence blowout better than any spreadsheet.
If you look at this back lane along 122 from a crow's eye view, it's basically a wildlife interstate. Coyotes cut that tree line. Deer pop out on the corner. Barn cats hunt the grass strip. On a real Gage place, I'd walk these edges after rain and let the tracks tell me where the next weak fence or bad water gap is gonna be.
Yeah, muddy ruts are just free consultants. Hoof prints piling at one shady spot, that's where your shade or mineral needs to be, not where the catalog photo says. I want to know from chat, what critter finally convinced you to move a gate or a trail? Deer, cows, or that one nosy neighbor's dog?
That nosy neighbor's dog question actually tees up my favorite Gage v1.0 layer we haven't talked about yet, the invisible crew. Like, this whole map looks quiet right now. Super Duty parked, wheat done. But off-screen, there's a bus driver, fuel guy, locker plant, lab tech, mail carrier. Lose any one of them for a month, and this farm limps hard.
Yeah, like if the fuel truck ghosts you in January, suddenly that tidy yard tour turns into which tractor actually has diesel and which neighbor's got a transfer tank. Same with the locker plant. One broken compressor in town, and your carefully raised lambs become a freezer Tetris crisis. I'm curious who y'all would scramble to cover first.